Adam, this boat obviously has been tailored obviously for fishing. I mean, it's a marvellous fishing boat, but you've also done quite a lot of had a lot of input into it because you film from this boat on a regular basis for your TV show.
That's right, John. This boat it's a prototype, but it's also a custom build. It's specifically designed for fishing and filming. And what I've done is I've chosen a pontoon alloy boat.
Right.
The reason I chose a pontoon is obviously stability.
Yes.
Okay. It's got a 6mm hull, which improves its ride performance in choppy seas.
Sure.
A little heavier hull, so it rides really well. Being a centre console configuration, the weight is all centralised. So you find that centre console boats generally ride better than cabin boats because they land better.
Definitely.
And I found that with this boat, so it's very smooth, very comfortable. It's got a hell of a powerhouse on the back. It's got a 150 Mercury 4-stroke.
And this is the latest Mercury.
This is the latest Mercury, which is slightly more compact than the older models. With me on with half a load of fuel and not too much gear, I can get it up to 40 knots, but 35 with a full load of gear and 180 litres, which we've got under the floor, so we carry a lot of gas.
Right.
My economy at cruising speed, which is about 25 knots, I'm running about 24 litres an hour at 25 knots, which is very good economy as well. So you cover the ground comfortably and you're not using heaps of fuel.
Tell us a little bit about the electronics package here. She's pretty high tech. It's all the latest gear, I see.
Yeah, it is high tech, but it's practical as well. I'm very much keep it simple, but have everything you need. I've got the latest Generation 2 HDS7 from Lowrance, high definition fish finder. It has a lot of features. You can see it's on split screen at the moment with sonar and GPS. And it also gives you a lot of other information. It also has structure scan and structure map, which can actually map the bottom and give you a true picture of the bottom that you're fishing in. And once you've had a fish finder for a while, you learn when there's fish on the screen, or if it's weed, or if it's other.
You get to know your own sound.
Get to know.
Yeah.
The other thing I use heaps is tracking on the GPS, because when you're going from point A to point B, if you go in a straight line, most of the time you're going to save gas. And if you wander off here and there, you can actually over like a 20-mile course or whatever, you could run an extra K and a half that you don't need to run. But if you've got a point A and point B, and you can follow these tracks. Also really good when you're drift fishing, because if you go through a drift and you hit some fish, you can quickly mark a spot, go back and drift that spot again.
Brilliant.
So practical. I also have one mounted on the bow.
Well, let's go to there, shall we?
Right, well, there's no point in having a centre console boat unless you're going to use the front of the boat for fishing, and that's what it's for. So we've got a deck that's raised by about 200mm. It's got a wet store under the deck, which you can store fish, dive gear, anything you want, anything that gets wet. That's a wet storage. You've got a seated live bait tank, so you've got a live bait tank underneath, which can hold big, large kahawai. We've got a drum winch, which is all operated from the console. The drum winch, the nice thing about that, you can run a lot of warp and not a thin warp. And obviously you have plenty of chain as well. Saka anchor, I just love those, they just work so well in all conditions. And the drum winch, like I say, it's a beautiful thing. It's a free fall. It's got like a centrifugal brake, so when it drops, it free falls. Then you put it into gear, and it'll take up the slack. Right, so it works very, very well. I never have to leave the console to anchor.
So there's trouble-free anchoring.
Trouble-free anchoring.
Right.
The big thing about a centre console, you're fishing from the front. I've got the electric motor, which we've seen that you can operate by foot with a wireless remote. You can cast here. We've also carpeted it for angler comfort. And like I say, it's raised 200mm, so it gives you a nice elevation for casting, whether it's poppers, live baits, whatever. And you see the console here, we've got a nice heavy-duty screen, which protects you. You do get a bit of spray occasionally when there's windage or there's boats in other areas. This protects you fully. Aerials are here. That's the other thing that I'm really big on, is good grab rails. Because my philosophy, it doesn't matter who's on a boat, whether you're 5 or 55, you need to be secure. And if you can anchor your feet and your hands, you're anchored at 3 points, you're never going to get in trouble.
Right.
So good safety feature.